done cried a lot, I had to fix the plot. It always be my time, I don't need a clock. Everything is coming towards you. Everything is coming towards you. All my close friends about to get a Glock. They trying to beat me up against some cabin spot. I don't see distractions, I won't ever stop. But you know the cops been testing us since off the block. Check, 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 all that we expect. Doing less, now we just playing check.
What's up, Ohio? This is Prince Ish, your host, coming through with another episode. And I just want to say I'm thankful for you guys for tuning in today. The thing that I want to get across today is just a lot of information. I want to catch up with you guys. It's been a little while for me actually sitting down and recording another episode. And the one thing that I definitely want to talk to you guys about is something that I took part in. It was a 4-day event. It was a seminar. Yeah, and it was a Tony Robbins event. It was called Unleash the Power Within, which was so interesting, very different from anything that I've ever done in my entire life. For one, sitting down 14 hours a day and being vulnerable, with other people across the world and talking and unlearning things and breaking habits and learning new habits. And pretty much the event is about this. It brings together many different types of people with many different goals who ultimately want the same thing, to reach their peak state, which is something that Tony talks about, and creating a life of meaning and fulfillment to become unstoppable. And when I think about that, there was this moment where we were doing like this meditation, and it was almost like a hypnotic thing where, it was like, imagine that you were doing the same stuff now, and imagine this 5 years from now, right? And what does that look like? How do you feel? And it's just a lot of different stuff that made you tap into the core root of issues that you may have had, in your life, or no matter what the circumstance is, you're able to make a decision that can create momentum, so you can create more decisions that can break that pattern of whatever story that you've been telling yourself, and just being able to really be yourself, really be the full you. And it's just crazy because it's so much stuff, like constantly, constantly moving around, constantly talking and engaging with other people, breaking off into groups. The one thing that allowed me to really open up was being aware of where I'm at currently. And if you heard like a song I put out, it's called Broken. I truly believe that, and before this seminar, I was looking at things like this, that we're all broken. We all fractured people. We all have, things from our past or trauma, no matter what it is, small or big. We don't know how it affects other people. So that can create dominoes of other things and create other issues that will turn into other things. And after this seminar, and I sat down and I looked at it, I'm like, okay, there needs to be more structure in my life with things, and such as, and it can be simple from just waking up and how you wake up, even if it's meditating right when you wake up or doing something just to be able to get you centered into yourself. And I feel a lot of us don't really have many routines in the mornings or even the afternoons or throughout the day. We're kind of just tackling things as they just approach us in life. And that is one hectic snowball if you really approach every day like that. Because one day there will be something that really happens where life presents something in front of you where it may trigger certain things within you where you may over-exaggerate, become over-emotional, or, whatever the case may be. But going back to just the routines, that stuff grounds you within that day and allows you to understand, like, okay, I'm here, I'm present, I'm grateful for everything that has come my way. Things may not be exactly where you want it to be, or things maybe you're looking further ahead, or maybe you're stressed, or maybe something is giving you anxiety that you're thinking about on your mind. It's like, you got to break that. You got to break that pattern of dwelling on thoughts, dwelling on feelings, dwelling on maybe how you may be coming across to other people. Because at the end of the day, you really just got to look at stuff like they're not feeding you. It doesn't matter what they really think at the end of the day. So you know what? Them, all of them. If they if they really have a problem with you, just look in the mirror and say, you are the best. Just really approach every day like that. You are being the best version. If you are striving for that, just make sure that you're able to do a accountability check as well. But I'm rambling, but I just wanted to say that this seminar really awoke a lot of feelings and allowed me to understand that structure with things are so important. Because, for example, like with myself, I didn't, I graduated high school and went to college for a little bit, and it was just because that I didn't care about what everyone else cared about. What I always cared about was art and expressing. And I still remember to this day, I was sitting in a class. This is the day that I left and I didn't come back. So I was sitting in my classroom. I was tired because I was coming from the studio. I was working on music. And the teacher, he came up to me and he said, like, you don't have to be here. He's standing in front of my desk. He's like, you don't have to be here. There's a lot of people that take a summer off or a year off or a couple years off and they come back. But, if you're trying to do this, trying to go to college just to be here or to please someone else, you're not going to get out of it what you could get out of it because you're not fully invested. You're not fully there. You're not fully present. When he said that, I got up and after the end of the class, I walked up to him and I was like, you're right. And I walked out and I just doubled down and tripled down and quadrupled down on my passions. And the rest is kind of history for me, just being able to look back at it. And that's one thing that I was able to look back at over the weekend is like, wow, even though we set these goals for things that we can that we want to accomplish in life, like when we do achieve them, is that the thing that we actually wanted? And over the years, I kept realizing like that's not it. That's not what I want. Whether it was doing a big show or whether it was performing with my friends and stuff like that. Like the main thing I only cared about was making sure the people that I'm around are people that are my friends, that I actually care about and care about me. All of that led up to a moment of like, checking off these boxes of doing this, getting onto this show, getting into this, whether it's like some type of festival or getting into different shows out of state, performing like Miami or going out of state like to Quincy, Illinois, which I love you guys out of there. You guys are like some of the most cool people that I've ever kicked it with. I appreciate all of you guys, Timmy, Megan, like there's a lot of people out there that I fuck with. Y'all, you guys are so cool. I love you guys. But all of these experiences over the years kept making me realize like, wow, okay, the things that I'm striving for, like heavy in this direction, is not necessarily what I want. It's cool when you achieve these things, but that feeling of fulfillment or achieving doesn't last. Like, and I'll give an example. So there was years ago when I did the first time I performed at House of Blues, and it was interesting. Like I was backstage with Maul, and we was talking. He was like, "Yeah, man, we here. We about to kill this." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is dope." And I had this moment to myself where I'm like, I wonder how it's going to feel stepping out to this crowd that's a full house, fully packed. And right before the curtain came up, this dude came up behind the curtain. When you can't get back here, you can't get access to this space, unless you have like some type of the proper credentials to get back here. This dude came up to me, and I know him. We're not cool, but I know him. He came up to me with a camera in my face, shoved a camera in my face, like, yo, we here, we doing it. I'm like, I'm looking at Maul looking at me, like, what? How did he get back here? I'm like, all right, all right. They pulled a curtain back. I'm stepping out to the stage. This dude is fully in my face with a camera, just like, yo, we did it. And I'm rapping, I'm performing, I'm talking to the crowd. And in that moment where I'm looking at all of these faces like up in the front where all these people that I know that have been supporting me, friends, some family, just like some other artists that I'm cool with as well. And just a lot of people where throughout my set, I could see just winning over the whole building. Throughout that whole set, I was standing there and I was looking, and it wasn't even like a ego thing. I was like, yeah, this is right. I'm supposed to be here. Like, it just made everything make sense. I would always think, oh, I'm this shy individual. I'm such this introvert, or I like to say ambivert, but that was like the past story that I would tell myself. And it was a great show. I got off the stage. There were some moments where I was like, okay, cool. Because I'm present. I'm analyzing things, especially getting off the stage, seeing what I can do better, thinking about what I can do better or how I can get across things more smoothly. And I had to rearrange some people in my thing, fired my DJ at that time and stuff. When I got backstage to the green room, like my manager and some people, they was coming up to me like, yo, oh, cool, dope. And then stepped back to the green room and I cried. I really cried to myself, not because I was happy. It was because I was sad. With that, it made me look at things like, wow, okay, there is something wrong here. There is something wrong internally, or I'm just out of alignment of what the focus is and what I want out of life. Because what started to happen was I was falling out of love with creating music because it was just there was just a lot of energy that was around me that was just draining from me, and only trying to just, which of course there's going to be people that just tries to ride your coattails when you try to do things and just try to hang around you and just try to, just hang around in the background and leech off things and not provide any type of value. And that made me look at things like, wow, okay, I'm so unhappy with myself. And at that time, I wasn't aware of, words like alignment with myself, my energy, my focus, and things like that. But long story short, that was that day is when I really started doing a lot of self-work on myself. Just being able to meditate more with intention, really seeking answers, learning other things that I have interest in, and then understanding that at that point I wasn't even doing music for myself anymore. I was doing music because everyone expected me to do music. Everyone around me was just really praising me for this thing, and it's like, okay, well, I've been doing it this long. Well, I might as well sacrifice and keep going. You never know where it's going to end. And it's like going, and I was going with that mindset for such a long time. And my body was drained too, because I was in a place of just pain, because I was like years ago, I was in not even in an accident. I was in a hit and run, and a car hit me, and still feeling things to this day, but I never necessarily dealt with it, because every time I was going to the doctors and the hospitals, they always kept saying like, oh, you're imagining things. It just really came across like this. And I'm going to be 100% honest. It was like there is this teenage black boy who's in here who is trying to get out of school or something like that. And that wasn't the case. Like, you can see my leg is completely swollen. I can't move it. They tried to just give me pain pills and move me out the door. And every time I would go to the doctor, they would only give me pain pills. So for me, first time I had Vicodin, because they was giving me that, and I was like, I don't like this. So I stopped. So I just chose to deal with the pain every day. Leg feeling like some days not working. And then that triggered other things throughout my body and stuff. So it was a lot of things that was exhausting my mind. I was such in a focused state of music growth, artist expression, and moving, like just forward movement, growing. And then you look around and you're like, oh, wow, everything is moving, everything is growing, but the structure wasn't there, to apply things. So it's interesting. I just tie all that back up to now, where being able to really sit with yourself with intention, not just sitting with yourself and just dwelling in emotion and trying to figure out things, but having a presence of professionals that can tell you about the traps that happens with the mind, give you examples of how your posture and how you breathe also adds to these type of thoughts because of the anxiety that our body creates within itself because of lack of posture, lack of getting oxygen to the brain, or just a plethora of things, even the food that we eat, like looking at food as truly medicine, not just something that you just put this in your body because it tastes good or it tastes, it pleases the mind. It's like, no, this is medicine. This is the natural medicine. Food is what we put in our body, that's what gives us the drive, the focus, the clarity, the energy, everything, the healing. But all of that really tied to me looking at all of this as the whole, understanding the reason for structure, the reason for, your structure or whatever that looks like for you, whatever works for you. But it's crazy. It's crazy because I didn't realize how much struggle that I was having in my mind and focus and the feelings that I had towards myself in a way. And I'm sure that a lot of us can relate. And that's why I wanted to share this, because a lot of us, we feel that we aren't good enough, or we need to do something to be loved or have value, just something like just pleasing people. And you don't have to do that. You really don't have to do none of that, even though that's easier said than done. But understand that there is a easier way that you can approach your life and be easier with yourself, and still get all of your stuff done that you want done, but not like really dread, the in between or the any of that. But I do want to share like some experiences with the people I was talking to from around the country, around the globe at the event, because it was so cool. So many people sharing different stories, and being able to be vulnerable with strangers at that, which it may sound easy, but being in a community where everyone is being vulnerable and is striving towards a place of growth, change, and just maximizing who they are, like whatever that natural strength is, whatever that you believe is your mission in life. And I met so many cool people. I met so many beautiful minds, so many people that actually want to help and assist with you, and you feel the same for them. And, you're trading stories, trading advice. And then and it's also like business as well. So these people are millionaires. Some of these people are just some of the elites, but we all get hung up on similar things, and we believe that is natural, and it's like, oh, okay, this is just who I am, and accepting it is like, no, that all of that's not who you are. That's what you were conditioned to be, whether it was childhood trauma or whether it's the environment from the world that we're living in, from the social pressures or the social expectations that we have on each other because of a TikTok video or memes that was shared on Instagram or X or wherever you get information. And then we embody that stuff and we push that behavior on other people when we feel terrible as well. So that's why now I just look at things. And I remember I was having a conversation in my group with this one, because they'll swap you out. Sometimes there'll be 6-7 people in the group and then swap out and be different things with different exercises. But I remember I said this to a woman and she said, like, that is so true, Ishmael. So I said that it's funny how a lot of people, they walk around very upset, mean mugging everybody. And they don't understand that, well, they don't understand why they haven't reached where they're trying to go. They may be one step away, and they can feel that 1 or 2 steps away, or they may perceive that they are, but they don't know how to get there or do any of that. And from the information that we was getting from these psychologists, these scientists, these athletes that was there that was speaking to us, and these Just people that's very top achievers, people that's just doing things that they are passionate about, that is their life mission, but also not jeopardizing their health, or there is a balance, but an elite mindset of like, no, I can do what I want to do. This is me. This is, but it was just nonetheless. But they don't know that there's so many other things that are contributing to how they're feeling, And she was like, "That is so true." It's like she was saying like we're so lucky that we're getting this information. She was like, just 48 hours ago, we didn't even understand like certain things, and there's so much clarity now because we see how all of these things are connected, and how it can benefit business and all of these things, and it was just so many people just sharing information, and we were sharing. But that was just beautiful. That was so beautiful. I'm so appreciative to it. And the thing is funny, we call him Uncle Tony. But yeah, definitely big love to Uncle Tony Robbins. We appreciate you, man. And anybody that's in there that was in my group, Team 31, appreciate you guys. I hope you guys are striving well. And for everybody else, please, 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 please look at everything around you, the environment, the people that's around you, that's hanging around you, the people that's draining your energy, the people that you want to put energy into. Look at all of that. Look at people's mindsets around you. People may say like, oh, they're not thinking about that. They don't want to be alone. It's like, no, you should rather be alone. You should rather be alone than have people around you that's not for you, or really don't care about you, or don't have any type of love for you. Just want to say that was a fun thing. That was a 4-day event, 14 hours a day. That was beautiful. Unlocked a lot of stuff, and we're going to keep the show rolling. So if you don't know about OpenAI is a company, and they're the ones that launched ChatGPT. And their new model is a text model that's coming out. It's actually out, and I've seen that some filmmakers were testing with it. They're really exploring with it in the entertainment space. And the model is just text to model. It's text to video. So you will type in a prompt saying something, and it'll come out as a live action video. It's real people that don't exist, or an animation that that is just pulling and creating things off of that. And the model understands not only what the user has asked for in the prompt from the text, but also how those things exist in the physical world, which is crazy. If you go to the chat, if you go to Sora OpenAI, their website, they have examples of the videos. It's up to a full minute. And the only downside is that the current model struggles with accurately simulating the physics of a complex scene, and may not understand specific instances of cause and effect. For example, a person might take a bite out of a cookie, but afterward the cookie may not have a bite mark. And also it's a bit confused with spatial details. Example, like mixing up left and right, and may struggle with precise descriptions of events that take place over time, like following a specific camera trajectory. But it's very crazy. If you were blinking or talking to someone and looking at the videos, you would not notice a difference. You'll think that you're watching for example, there was one where it was a car driving. You would think you're watching a car commercial, or this person is walking down the street, talking, looking around, and it looks like this person. You won't notice necessarily the off-putting details until maybe the second or third watch. Like there was this clip of these animals. I think it was like wolves or foxes or something. And it started off as 3, and they're just walking around playing. And then you'll see like kind of, if you focus in the center of the screen, they're morphing out of each other like seamlessly. That's the only giveaway. That if you weren't paying attention very closely, that you would not see that. You would just think like, oh wow, there's a lot of foxes or a lot of wolves or whatever this animal is. And it's not real. All of it is generated. And this makes me wonder about the future of the entertainment industry, which we all know the music industry has been using algorithms to really placate to a certain space or a certain successful formula. It's like, okay, if you placate towards this, then more of whatever you're doing is going to showcase to more people. which is dope, I guess. That's cool. When I do believe that it should just be based out of art and expression, and the cream rise to the top. But with this is opening so many doors for people, because now, at least right now with Sora, that it's a full minute video. Wait until it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You're going to have short films out of this. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You're going to have episodic shows out of this. It's going to keep the cost down so much. Like, I believe with what was it? The Secret Invasion, what was his name? Oh my goodness. Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury. The Nick Fury show, what Disney said with the intro, that whole intro was using AI to create all of that. It's already implemented, and that means that they've probably had this technology for some years now. It's just slowly opening up to the public, where it's like, oh, okay, well, this is becoming the direction, so we might as well start allowing this to come out to the societies, the communities, so we're able to build careers that can focus in this, or make this stronger or implement it. But it's at a point now where it's not even at a point now. It's always been like this for the most part, is that it's learning by itself. It's teaching itself to become more efficient, become more accurate, and using the internet information to grasp these concepts and teach itself more concepts. So it's very, very cool. But I am also worried about these people that are already in these fields, like art studios, film studios, musicians, because we already have AI music, which was booming last year with all these Drake AI songs, which I'm not even gonna lie to you, I was jamming to all of them for the most part, or some of these MJ songs, which didn't sound very accurate, but that I get that, like, people that's passed away and really stamping that this is AI. I appreciate that. Like, if there was a James Brown AI album, that would be freaking fire. As long as the James Brown family is getting paid from it, getting like 70% of it, the profit, that's amazing. Like, I would love that type of situation. Or, for example, well, no, I was going to say a Michael Jackson and Prince song, but that would even be blasphemous in AI. That would be crazy. I think if the music industry wouldn't riot about that, if the music industry wouldn't put up a big argument about that, then I'm like, okay, they're all in cahoots with everything, if that's the case. But yeah, so I don't know how you guys feel about it, about the AI industry really coming into the entertainment field, but it's already spread across all fields. And, at this point, we have to embrace it, learn new skills, see how we can utilize all of these things, and be able to keep it in the communities and grow from the communities. So that's what I truly believe that we should be doing, is being able to utilize all of these things to just build more things in the community, and see how we can get more kids involved, and having the mindset of, you don't have to go outside of the community to become successful. Maybe safer. It's probably more safe, but you don't have to go somewhere to build the world that you want to have, or build the world that you want to live in. And that leads me to the Chinese AI show. And this show is a collection of ancient stories based on 200 plus classic Chinese poems. And it's cool. Like I said, like I was just mentioning like a few minutes ago, that these art studios are going to start doing this, because you can limit the budget, you can work faster, you could probably schedule things out more. You don't have to depend on anyone. You really don't even have to depend on anyone for anything, for real. You can just generate these poems, generate the breakdowns. You can generate, I'm not sure about the style, but I'm sure probably at that level, you could probably generate a specific style and have it themed throughout that. But this is very interesting. This is a very interesting time that we're living in. And I wonder how long until other studios take the bold step, especially in America, of releasing content from live action and animation. Because I'm not sure if anyone have seen that episode of Black Mirror where there's Salma Hayek that is being used in an AI show and she's doing all of these things in this show. Is like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go to this church and defecate in the defecate, and it's on screen and everyone's watching it and they're believing this. And it's like, wow, I may have the context wrong with that, but still the same sentiment. That where is the line going to be? Is it going to be people that are completely made up in these AI shows, or are they going to use the faces of these different types of actors and they just get, a percentage of it, a percentage of because they're not getting a worker's fee. They're just getting honestly, like if you want to get technical, maybe a finder's fee, or maybe just some type of splits, just how music is. The producer gets immediately 50%. And then maybe at this point, maybe the actor gets like 25%, because they are only borrowing or licensing their likeness. And that's the fight that's going to be interesting. That's is going to be coming forward, because this AI, especially with Sora, this stuff is getting super accurate. And just wait until they're able to do long form videos and content with this. It's going to be crazy how these actors and studios, directors, everyone, because then it's going to be the directors. I kind of still understand why they would be useful at that point, but everything in between is going to be a little short-sighted. Because the only reason I say that about the directors is because you do need someone to oversee the project, that have all of the information and the direction that they want to go into, whether it's good or bad. But, of course they want it to be good, but meaning just that everyone likes it or not, whether it does well or not. But I'm not sure how I would feel about watching a long form film that's AI. If it's dope, it's dope, but I want some people to get paid from this. I want some people to get paid from this. I don't know how people would get paid from this, though, because it seemed like it would just be tech companies and these studios that would be working together in cahoots to, just making things. And that's, I don't know, that's art. It's very confusing to me. But would you feel a way? I want you guys to ask yourselves this, whether you commented or talk about it in your house or wherever you're at or at work, but would you feel a way knowing that the show or film you're watching is completely AI? I'm curious. Ask yourself that. And if you have an answer, please hit me up and respond to it, because I'm curious to know what you guys are thinking about that, because this is not happening 10 years from now. This could be happening 3 years from now, 2 years from now. The way things are speeding up dramatically, because the more technology you get, the faster you get to do other things. So this episode, I wanted to talk about quiet on set. This is something that I feel is very concerning to all of us. If you don't know what Quiet on Set is, it's pretty much a documentary about Nickelodeon during the times of late 90s to the early mid 2000s. And there was a heavy focus on Amanda Bynes when she had the Amanda show, when they had the sketch show that was for kids and is similar to SNL, but all that, if you watch the first 2 seasons, like I did as a kid, which it was amazing. The Amanda Bynes show, the Amanda show was something that I've always watched. I watched all the episodes as a kid. I always found her very hilarious. Loved her sense of humor. And, from the Amanda show, we got Drake and Josh, where that's where they met and were approached because of their connection and timing and sense of humor, and bridge to the Drake and Josh show, which was my favorite. I've seen every episode of Drake and Josh as a kid, and it was just a cool time, especially like as a kid, because with Drake and Josh specifically, they were tackling issues that were interesting. They were tackling issues that most kids go through, such as how a guy can talk to a girl, or how you have a brother that's maybe cooler than you, and how do you deal with that? How does that look? You have a sister that you guys look at her like, okay, she's intentionally trying to ruin our lives. I'm like, what do we do with this? But it was just so many ideas, so many concepts, so many things that from that show. And it may not seem big, but as a kid, when you're seeing this stuff, you're always thinking about, if you can remember going back to being a kid, like I'm not sure how you were, but for me, I was always looking ahead. So I would look at things like, okay, like when I was 10 or 11, I was looking at, okay, how can I provide for my family? How can I make money to provide for my family? Especially coming from a single parent household, there was a lot of pressure that made me look at things in a different way of like focus. Like, okay, let me start thinking about what I'm going to do with my life so I can get ahead and do things like early or earlier. So like shows like Drake and Josh, The Amanda Show, all that. Even they talked about Zoe 101. They was talking about Ariana Grande and that Sam and Cat show, iCarly. And the interesting thing is that the dude who created all that, the dude who created the Drake and Josh show, the dude that created, I believe, yeah, iCarly, I believe Sam and Cat was Dan Schneider. And then you find out Dan Schneider is really an asshole um, because of how he's acting with people. He's like manipulating the costume department or makeup women to give him massages, or maybe an actress to give him massages. And keep in mind, like when I say actresses, these are kids. These are kids. These are kids. But him just being so inappropriate and not caring about people's emotions. And I will say this: that was the most negative thing that you can really see out of this guy from the show, and how he was really carrying on with everyone. But you can tell that everyone felt extremely uncomfortable every time he was around. And that was something that they were also talking about, because there was previous actors that were kids and stuff, but they didn't do anything really. If you grew up with any of these shows, then you understand, like, wow, this was a magical time where there was just a lot of dope entertainment for kids. But on the other hand, as we were growing up, because I consider myself one of them kids because I was watching them shows. But when you're growing up and you see, people like Drake and Josh kind of dwindle, you see Amanda Bynes start taking off, start doing shows like What I Like About You, or I forgot the films like What a Girl Wants. There was a couple films that she did and then just kind of faded a bit. And you start to see some stuff in the news about destructive behaviors and things like that. And I believe all of us was looking at it like, okay, yeah, this is destructive behavior, but something happened. And we all have felt like that. And when you watch this documentary, specifically when they're talking about Drake Bell, Amanda Bynes, and even a little bit of Ariana Grande, where they talk about how she was just sexualized as a kid, sexualized as a teenager on these shows, doing things inappropriately, like trying to squeeze a potato, or like, but it's just giving these sexual connotations to things. And it's just so sad, because it just insinuates so much inappropriate behaviors throughout these shows that Dan Schneider was attached to, that he was the creative of. And you see him like on set, they'll show the scenes where he's on set and he's just laughing and carrying away. And I believe they said that for him, it was kind of like inside jokes to him and his friends. And that's like, yo, you can't use kids for that. But then when I started thinking about it, I'm like, yo, most of these cartoons did that. Most of these, well, it's not, it's different because it's not kids actually, but most of these cartoons did that. But when there's kids involved at a early age where this is their first project, they need to be protected from people like that. They seriously need to be protected from people like that, because the entertainment industry easily takes advantage of parents and children simply because parents aren't looking at their kids because they're looking at their kids to provide for the family. So they are slow to speak up about questionable behavior on set, or people that may seem like they have power, in fear of ruining the kid's career. So with Drake, there was this guy, and I'm not going to divulge really too much into it because that's such a personal thing. And Drake Bell is now speaking up about this, and I believe that is freaking amazing, and so much kudos to him and respect, and um, I just wish him well. But I'll just give a breakdown of Brian Peck and who he was. So Brian Peck, he has sexually assaulted Drake Bell for years, going back to, I believe it was towards the end of all that, but even before Drake and Josh and all of that type of stuff. And the dude, he was being weird, and he tried to even be the dad on Drake and Josh just to pretty much stay close to Drake. Just very predatory behavior, very, very creepy. But he's a convicted sex offender and former actor, dialogue coach, director, and producer. And he was arrested in 2003 for child sexual abuse, which was Drake, but it wasn't spoken about at that time, and was sentenced to 16 months of prison the following year. Only 16 months, which is crazy for the stuff that he did to Drake. And then later he was hired by the Disney Channel after being a convicted, just being on the list for being a pedophile. I really don't understand that. And then, which is worse, like I was watching an interview with Drake, and Drake also said that he saw him a couple of years ago at a restaurant, and he was at a table filled with kids that looked like they were between 14 and 15. Like how? Like how does this happen? How does this happen? How does someone that is convicted of things against kids, for sexual assault, all types of stuff, you all know about this from the company heads, the directors, and all that stuff, because you can't tell me that they don't know about that. And later to find out that they all know, because when Drake was there to appear in the courtroom, he did it anonymously until he got to the courtroom to plead the case. But when he got into the courtroom, apparently there was letters from exec studios, directors, producers, people that knew Drake personally, at that time, at that kid. So keep in mind, this is 2003, that wrote against Drake, saying that, oh yeah, he pressured Brian. Brian would never do this to any kids. He pressured him he put him in a compromising position where he couldn't refuse. Like, what are you talking about? How can you even say that? These are grown people. Over 40 people wrote letters to the judge to try to be lenient on this man. Anybody writing a letter to be lenient on a pedophile is insane to me. You can try to rationalize saying like, oh, it's just natural, it's instincts, this is all that type of stuff. That is filth. That is all filth. And you need help. If that's something that's a natural craving for you, you need help. You do need help. That is not something that that's not condoned in society at all. We protect our kids. We don't try to abuse. We shouldn't abuse them. We shouldn't try to. We should all be held accountable, not try to protect anybody, no matter the power or any of that. Their experience, it doesn't matter. But it was just wild to me that the Disney Channel did pick him up and had him on a few episodes for Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which is crazy. But yeah, if you want to know more about that, watch the documentary. Definitely support that, because I believe we do need more things like this to expose stuff. So especially for child actors, because the parents need to be aware of when things are fishy, it's fishy. You know what I mean? Trying to cover for people or just trying to make sure that they have a career. It's like, no, make sure their mind is good. Make sure their soul is protected, because the kids understand the pressures that you are putting on them when they are the breadwinner for the house. No child should have that type of pressure of providing for a family and then being in a position where there's adults looking at them in ways and touching them in ways that's just constantly inappropriate, but you don't want to say nothing because you don't want to ruin the opportunity. No, go to work. Go to work. Get a job. What are you talking about? You can't live through your kids. It's crazy. And then, like, just because you can hear the conversations that these parents, like, they had some parents on there that was speaking, and you hear them talk about stuff, and it's like, yo, this is your child. This is the only thing that you should be focused on. You should be making money or trying to figure out a way that you can do that. And you can still put them in a situation, if this is their passion, then you can still have them in a way where they can still go after their dreams, but also feel safe and protected. And part of that is you protecting them and making sure that they're safe and comfortable. Easy stuff. Oh, I can't be on set while they're there. They're not going to be here then. Cool. That should be illegal. Why should I be separate from my child when they are doing stuff with adults? That doesn't make sense. I don't know none of y'all. What are you talking about? Like, it's just so much stuff. Like the Brian Peck guy, he really tried to manipulate. He really did manipulate Drake into pushing his father away, accusing his father of stealing money, just all of this type of stuff, just to isolate him, to get him to a vulnerable place where he won't say nothing because he understands the pressure that's on him. This dude has been a legend in this industry. He knows all these people. I don't know what to do. He's doing this to me right now. I don't even know how to feel about that. But I just want to say, man, definitely prayers, and I just wish the best for everybody, and Amanda and Drake. If Ariana is going through anything, I hope that she is okay. And anybody that has or experienced any type of abuse, but definitely keep in mind kids, kids should not be going through no type of abuse like that, especially like sexually, anything. That's just insane. And they should feel more comfortable they should be able to be comfortable enough to go to their parents to voice how they feel and voice what's going on with them, to be completely transparent, because kids know what's going on. They know what's going on. If you didn't get anything out of today, if you just was like, oh, okay, it's just ranting today, good. You should rant more, because you need to let go some of that stuff that you got in you, whether that's just anger, vengefulness, or just depression or misery or whatever it may be. Find an outlet, whether it's journaling or something, and get it out your system. Look at it and be like, oh, okay, this is not me. I know me, because when you're done writing that stuff out, if it's journaling, then you look at it and be like, oh, wow, that's not me. But today I wanted to focus on the health, and I really want everyone to be able to look at themselves in the mirror and truly appreciate themselves. So if you didn't get anything out of today, look in the mirror, say, I love you to yourself, and in a way where you mean it, and don't walk away until you mean it, because you should. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you guys have a good day, good rest of your week. We're going to be back. I'm going to get some more episodes out. So tune in, watch them, catch up on the other episodes. And I hope you guys enjoy your week. Peace.
I done cried a lot, I had to fix the plot. It always be my time, I don't need a clock. Everything is coming towards you. Everything is coming towards you. All my close friends about to get a Glock. They trying to beat me up against some cabin spot. I don't see distractions, I won't ever stop. But you know the cops been testing us since off the block. Check, all that we expect. Doing less, now we just playing chess. I don't need to wear no chains, I just go and spread the game. That's what all this shit about, I just move and write it down, yeah. I done cried a lot, I had to fix the plot. It always be my time, I don't need a clock. Everything is coming towards you. Everything is coming towards you. Everywhere I go, women dancing up on TikTok.